Okay. Hi everyone, welcome, and we are going to do this in English for once, just to make sure that if any designer wants to just find advice about how they can grow as a designer, they can understand what we're saying. Thanks for being here at the office or on YouTube Live. I'm Julien. I'm one of the co-founders of the design crew. And for those who don't know us, we are a design company. We started with education programs to help people who want to start a career in product design and to improve as well for designers who want to improve as well. And we also became recently a design studio as well to help startups and scale-ups in their product development. So tonight we're going to spend 1 hour together and talk about design leadership. And to do that, we're going to have two guests tonight. Mathieu Michonneau is head of design at Conto, and Michael David is design director at Itoy. So guys, thanks for being here as well. And I'm going to start with a simple question. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about what brought you to the design career that you have today? Who wants to start? Mathieu, maybe you first?
Yeah, I go first. So hello everyone. Really happy to be here. First time I speak at the design crew, maybe another time next. So thanks for welcoming me today. So I'm Mathieu. I'm currently head of design at Conto. I joined there Conto a year and a half ago. I've been in design field for a bit more 10 years and been a manager since around 7 years now. I started in advertising. I studied advertising at Sud first, and then I joined really early at BlaBlaCar as one of the first designer working as a marketing designer there. And maybe I could add more details after during the talk, but spent 3 years there at BlaBlaCar, practicing different type of design, different tasks, not only marketing, but as well a bit of product, of mobile, advertising, outdoor. And then I changed universe. I went more in the field of agency, a digital agency named Faber Novel, where I worked mainly with large company, big groups, and it was really a change of environment, of problematic. I learned a lot there, and managed a team of product designer in this agency, and then became head of design at Conto now for a year and a half. Regarding Conto, we have in our studio 4 expertise currently: product design, brand design, UX writing, and design system. And Conto is a solution finance for businesses, and we try to develop the best solution possible for businesses. So that's it. Sorry if it was long.
No, I think it's okay for everyone. Thank you, Julien. Thank you, the design crew, for the invitation. I know well the design crew because I'm a mentor for nearly 4 years, I guess now. 3 years, yes. So I love the program. I love the design crew. I think that's the market right now need that kind of program in order to put in the market a lot of designers, and especially people that are not coming from that background and want to discover that the new possibility about product design. A lot of companies are looking for that expertise, that skills. So I'm Michael. I'm nearly 42. I'm an engineer by training. So I was supposed to build like nuclear power plants and cars and bridges, but I decided to do something different. So I think that during many years I was looking for myself. Okay, I want to do something more creative. I don't know how. So I joined IT companies and help people to set up, the SAP software, the kind of SAP, like very crappy experience. So it's and I am a video game lover, you know. So I used to play video games, and I think that in video games they are like 20 years in advance in terms of user experience compared to the web. And so each time I went on the interface and was how they did who did that? You know, it's like exactly the same that it's like crappy experience. You say who are responsible of that? That's us. That's product designers. But there are a lot of reasons why sometimes it's crappy. And so I think that during many years I was like a designer inside me, but I didn't find a way to get into. And then I had the opportunity to join Avast. You know Avast, like advertising company in French, quite known as a project manager. And then project by project, that became like information architect. You know, I don't know what it means for you, but it was like the old-fashioned way to say user experience, I guess. And then I joined another company, advertising company. It was like 10 years ago or maybe 12 years ago. And then I built my own startup. I joined another startup. I went in a big group like General Electric, you know, it's like big American group to say what we can do, like a crossover between engineering and user experience. Well, they are not ready yet. And then I come back to the tech. And so here I am at Doctory for 4 years now. And now we are like nearly 40 in the team of design. And quite the same as you, but we are user researcher, product designers, brand designers, UX writers, and the design ops. And we are building a little team of designers in order to manage design system and other rituals and methods. So I think this is it about like the global presentation.
Thanks, guys, for the introductions. Yeah, you just said that you had a nearly 40-person team, and this is quite huge based on the average size design team in Paris. Can you tell us, guys, a little bit about the organization of that team? How is this structured? How do they work with each other? What are your rituals, and so on and so on?
Okay, so I will continue. When I arrived at Doctory, there was only one product designer. From one product designer to 40, there is like a long way in order to hire people and to structure everything. I think that during 2 years, we were very conservative, you know, that we built like a design studio and we like gathered all the designers in a room, and I was like very conservative and said, no, I don't want to see like the design mindset diluted, you know, in the company. And there are a lot of products say, no, I want my designers close to me. So there was like 2 years quite conservative like that. And we grow. And then there was one point where we decided to, okay, maybe it's time, because the design culture is bigger right now, to have the rhythm between what we call the build and what we call the run. So it's important for us to have a lot of time spending together, a long time, without thinking about the run, without thinking about the feature team, and spend time thinking about the rituals, about the methods, how we can improve a project, a way to do a project, and then having like a time for the run and work closely to the feature team, like product managers, developers, and so on. So I would say that there is 40% of our time is about the build, 40%, and 60% is about the run. So it's quite huge, 40%, but I think this is exactly what we need in order to having like the nutshell, you know, the design culture and make it very strong. And it's regarding the development team, I think it's quite equal, because the developers, they are kind of same, like 45% to the tech task and everything, in order to debug the platform, etc. And like 55% dedicated to the run and the project. So we say, hey guys, there's developers that are doing that. Oh, it looks amazing, you know, to grow and to respect the evolution of the rituals and the methods. So let's do that. And then regarding the 4 or 5 teams we have inside, this is like organic. So the first of all is like product design. This is what we need in order to create interfaces. And then after we say, sometimes it's difficult to have great decisions altogether, you know, because there is you know, a very in the hierarchy, there is someone that's difficult to convince about an idea or something. And when you say, no, I know the market, I know my user, this is exactly what you have to do. Maybe we should have to ask the user. And so we create the user research team, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1 year after, we created the UX writing team, because exactly kind of same problem, because I don't know, during 1 hour of meeting, there is an interface, and we spend like 15 minutes about just the UX, and maybe 45 minutes just about one sentence. And so I didn't say, there's a problem. You see that this is not something, we need someone just to hold the flag of UX writing and to write clear guidelines, and we follow the guidelines, and it will be very clear. So what I say each time is that I try to apply my job to my job. I would say that's okay. There is my journey as a designer, and if I see like in a journey a low, you know what I mean, like a hole, I would say in my experience, okay, there is a problem here. So each time is the same. And for brand design, it was just about like luck, because we bought another company, and there was like one brand designer. There was no very big marketing team at the time, and say, oh, do you want a brand designer? Yeah. And so it was the starting point of having like a global design team, and we are quite lucky to have like everyone under the same roof. And I think that's you will speak about that after, but design ops and all design system, I think it's the last part when the team is getting bigger, and you say, okay, we need someone to making the link between all the designers to help them to have like a good Figma, good components, good rituals, and etc. etc.
Thanks. I'm very curious about those 40% build and how it's organized, but we're gonna let Mathieu talk about this to you after to talk about this. Mathieu?
Yep. So when I arrived a year ago, there were 6 designers, and we are now about 35 people in the design studio. So it's a pretty fast growth, I think. And the idea of going so fast is actually a bit slow. We should be 60 by now in order to achieve what we want to achieve at Conto. And I'm really surprised to see with your company in France, like, with a lot smaller team, because like when I see our competition is Revolut. They have 100 or 100, I think 150 designers. When I look at big startup in the US, they have about 200, 300 designers, and we want to achieve the same results than them. So I don't understand how with a team of 10 we can achieve this result. So I feel pretty late on my schedule regarding the hiring plan of the team.
I want to ask you something about this because there's no big team like this in France right now. And how do you know you're on the right path? Do you have mentors helping you in that in your development to help you grow in the team? Because we don't know that in France for now. Do you seek advice in the US, in the UK? How do you manage to run your team?
That's a good question. Honestly, I wish I wish I had contact in US teams and to understand how they scale so fast, how they are organized. Look at a lot of TED Talks, video, following their blog, following their articles. Of course, they explain how they are organized. There are a lot of articles and talk about Netflix, Google, how they organize their team. And then it's a bit like, as you said, design in design, like you do your benchmark, you analyze this, what others are doing. We are looking competitors on LinkedIn, looking the company, the market, how many people they try to hire, and just it helps us to raise questions like why our competitors they are more, why they have double, and how they do that. And of course, we discuss. We are at Conto for a bit more than 460, I think, right now. So, and a lot of, it's a small world in France and in Europe, and a lot of people at Conto are contacting the different company or has been in different companies, so they can help having ideas of how to organize and how to scale such a team. So to answer the question, mentor directly, no, but experience of people in the team. and what has been shared outside is really helpful to understand why we should do that and how to do it. And then the rest is pretty logic. Like we try, we see how it works, and then we fix it.
Exactly, the design process, in fact. Yeah, just about the design process.
Momentum, either?
No, I do a lot of lunch with other head of design. So I think it's always great having that discussion, honest discussion, frank discussion, and say what are your challenges right now. Oh, interesting. So I faced it like maybe 6 months ago. We did like that. Okay, interesting. So for me, it's one of the best way to share the best practices, and I think that's now we have a pool of, I don't know how many head of design we have in Paris, but I think like enough to share knowledge and to raise the bar globally. But to be honest, we have the opportunity to meet a product designer from America during interviews from LinkedIn, Facebook, and I was quite surprised about the fact that we are pretty good. In fact, we are pretty good. So it's more about network confidence and having like I would say CEOs that believe in design. In fact, so I really think that France is a country of designers. Maybe if not a country of design, there is maybe a lack of communication between designers who are very pushy and say, yeah, let's do that great interface, and CEOs say, why? This is enough, you know. So, and maybe if Steve Jobs was French, the story maybe were different, you know. So there is that legacy, that strong legacy, and we have to fight a little bit against that. But I think it's on the way. We have like pretty big team. Yours too, you know. We talk about the Bon Coin. They are a big team of designers. So I think that's this story is here, you know. So I'm pretty confident.
There was something that you said that is really interesting to me, is that we need the CEOs who believe in design. What's your journey to convince Dr. Lid and Ponto that design is important and that you need to hire bigger teams, and what's your...
Yeah, I hope there was like a tutorial to do so, but it really depends on the mindset and sensitivity of the comics. And so at Dr. Lib, I think that's the design culture is something that's is not completely understood by everyone in the top of the company, but they really understand about business. So if you link design to business, you can grow the team, and it's exactly what we did so far. So if you produce an interface and you prove that the job you're doing is giving more money to the company, so they will open the wallet and say, okay, let's do that. There is two steps in your design work. There is what I call the design factory. You know, you put the KPI, and then there is the process, user research, UX, UI, blah blah blah, user test, interface, boom, plus 5% conversion. Oh, hooray! So this is the design factory, and then above that there is the design philosophy. Okay, how to bring just a hint of love, of delight of what you do. I think this is important for design, you know, and this is more complicated. It's more complicated because you're touching something more sensitive, more personal, and for that I have no secret sauce. But for the first part, the design factory, I think just be pragmatic and be very close to the business, and I think that's a good thing going to happen.
Mathieu, maybe?
Yeah, so I feel really lucky because at Conto, when I joined, I said there were 6 designers back then, and they were all managed directly by the CEO. And for me, it was a sign of, like, it was like a CEO managing directly. It's a pretty good signal. Yeah, that's a pretty good signal. So I was like, okay, he's crazy about design actually. And that's and we had a discussion during the process when I joined, and like he's passionate about and both of our founders are passionate about design. They invest a lot in that, and actually all the management at Conto has this design mindset and this passion for design and for quality product. And they are behind me, like asking, like, why the team is not bigger. So they are part of this actually, and that's the environment I wanted to evolve in. I didn't want to fight to explain why a company needs a designer. It doesn't make any sense to me to try to explain you need a designer in order to do products that make sense for your user. There are methodologies to do that, and without that, you can go nowhere. So that was a good part. So I feel lucky for that, and I don't have a lot of efforts to do on this point.
Thanks. Can you tell us a bit more about your role as manager? What's your purpose? How useful you are to your teams and things like that?
So you can start. So I'd say the first would be to hire the team. So that has been my job since I arrived. Hire, train the team to work together and build the tools for them to work more efficiency, together. And so that's one of the parts. The other, as a manager and as any manager, I think my goal is really to help people I manage to grow and to evolve. And as a head of design, I manage leads, so manager, which are managing the team. So it's pretty new to me because I was not doing that before. I was directly managing a team as designer, and now my role is really to manage manager of managers. And that's a bit different for me. It's something I try to get better at and change completely the job that I had before managing designers. So helping people to grow, build the tools, creating and driving the really a culture, a strong culture as well. The culture in design is, and I think in the company overall, it's like that. It's really being curious about why we do things a specific way, why it's built like that, and how we want to do it, and try to develop a sense, as you were saying, a sense of design. It's not just a process. It's not actually a process. It's a thinking, and it's people thinking about how to build things. And it's very difficult to do that. And so my role is to help them and do my best to gather all the information, all the material, all the means that they can need in order to go in this direction. Of course, work with them. And at the end of the day, as you said, there is a run and build, and we need to deliver. If we have such a big team, our first goal for me is to deliver what we need. This is why we need such a big team. So I make sure that we deliver what we have to deliver in time, with great quality, of course.
Yeah, this is, I completely agree with what you said. I think that the company is waiting from us delivering value through the job we're doing. But as a design manager, we have a lot of things to do. When I arrived 4 years ago, design is really about long-term, value. It's not like you put I don't know, 1,000 euro and 1 quarter after you gain 2,000 euro. It's not about that. It's about working on all the touch points and say, okay, you're starting 1 year and 3 years after you gain something. But it's really the collection of all the action you are doing with the team. So it's really a long-term run. So you have to be very like a marathon, and a marathon, but you are running fast because you are in startup. But it's like a marathon. And to do so, you have to hire the best, to keep the best, keeping the best, that this is something very, very, very hard. And then to provide them a comfortable environment of work means I would say rituals, tools. You have to be the shield of your team. Say, okay, I want to protect them from a lot of people and say, I want to do a pink thing. And no pink. No, that's a blue, white. Why? This is so boring because there is a brown. I don't care about the brown. It's okay. All that kind of debates. This is exactly the role of, for me, a manager, to hold the flag and to have the legitimacy to say, I don't want the team to be exhausted, to say again about that kind of something that it seems to us very natural. Just said, I don't want to explain to someone what this design is about, but in real life, you have to do it every day. You have always someone new in the company, maybe have a different background, or maybe coming from a startup where there are like maybe 20 people doing all the stuff, and suddenly you have like a bigger company. We have 2,000 right now, Dr. Lip, so everything is like quite separate. So you have to redo each time to explain. So being the shield, I think being the shield is something quite important. And then after provide them a great environment to, I think that I'm here, I spend maybe 15% of my week to kill the blockers. So I have like on Slack, hey Mika, I have problem here because there is like, okay, so you are here with your, with like a fire, I would say, and you have to, to find how to close the blockers and say, see the right people, or say, okay, there we need someone here, and I'd say it's a big part of my job, because there is, even if you try to provide a great rituals, methods, there are always chaos, always, because especially in startup environments. So you are here for that, and hiring people. I think that's today we are nearly 40 in the team. We have 22 open positions. So I think that I spend 25% of my week doing hiring interviews, filling all the feedbacks about that. So it's pretty exhausting, but this is something that's mandatory, because building a team is really about, it's so precious, about that. When you have designers that are in a bad mood, bad shape, like dark energy, say, I want to be right. I want that my work to be seen by everyone. I'm right. You know what I mean? That kind of behavior, it's just very difficult to manage when you're manager. So you have to pick the right one to keep in the team. We have a lot of attrition in the team. We lost like 13 people from the beginning of the year. This is huge, but this is the market, because a lot of people are looking for designers. That. So there is always another company say, hey, do you want to come? More money? More, I don't know. You can't fight. Or I want to live, I don't know, in other countries. So there is a balance like that. So I think, yeah.
So what do you do to retain people in your team and make it maybe attractive to other people?
To be the most to bring them the most comfortable environment. Product designers right now, as we have designers, a system designer, design system engineer. So everything is done to give them the right tools, and they just have to focus on their job. Okay, bringing the right solutions to the user, and this is the quintessence of what we are doing as a product designer. If you lose time thinking about the blockers, thinking of like fighting with product manager, you get exhausted like instantly. So we have to make that environment very comfortable and clean, protect them, say it so that they feel, okay, I'm doing my job, I'm really doing my job. I'm creating great interfaces, I'm creating value, and then we test to the user, and the user say, yeah, I love that. Oh, I did my job well. And I don't spend half my time fighting with people, and I think this is a case of maybe honestly 80% of designers in France right now, because there are 1 or 2 or 3 in the team and they're fighting every day, to explain what design is about, to explain to different people around you. Everyone has an opinion on what we are doing. Everyone. People in the street say, oh yeah, I don't like your interface. You don't know. You don't know about the process. So this is exactly how to avoid that kind of situation. And I think that's the most numerous we are. We can really have an ownership, clear ownership to every topic, and then it's clear for the product designer this is mission. But even with that, the attrition is still huge. So I don't have like magic sauce, but I would say that it's what I try to do every day.
But what do you do to keep your talent and attract new ones?
So first, I think indeed there's no magic sauce. So people will leave at some point, and there's nothing we can do. And that's a great thing actually, because it's like that every designer gets different experience from different company, and that designers, they get better and better, and at some point they end up in your company, and they have all this different experience where they learn in different companies. So I feel really glad they left all the previous company where they were worked. So that's part of the thing, and the only thing that we can do on top of what you just said is, and what I focus on is, and it's my main focus, is I try to make sure that every day they are learning something, they are getting better at their job, and they are proud of their result and proud of the work they do. And I can maybe concrete example about that is when I see a designer at the beginning joining us and struggling to explain, to make choice and explain the choices. And I see design, and I've been to reviews where I see a design, I see maybe 5 solutions there, and the 5 solutions they all make sense. We could do it. And maybe one of the person in the room asks, okay, so which one? And everyone is saying, oh, I prefer this one, I prefer this one, I prefer this one. And we are here in the world of subjectivity, and we lost really the design part. What is the best solution from those 5? And the designer in question, after like we review this meeting together, we do a session of feedback, and we try to understand why the designer was not able to explain for himself first, what is a good solution, and then to explain to others why, if this person thinks that this solution will be the best for the problem. And after a time and practice and shadowing as well, because the time after, I go to present something, I explain the choices. And so the designer can understand, okay, how we build the rationale around the solution, and how we explain to people why we choose and why we think that this solution is the most powerful. And then after a while, I see the same person doing that every day, building rationale on their solution and explaining to people. And when we have discussion, I see they are proud of them because they achieved to convince a room of 10 people, and maybe a month before they were lost and they were really stressed out. So I didn't manage to convince my team. I didn't know what to do. And a month later, they are really trusted in their team, listen, and they feel proud that they can explain their work and why they believe their work is great, and have a lot more helpful discussion, because the discussion after is, did you make the right choices, and discuss about the rationale. So that's not subjective anymore. We are discussing about concrete elements. So to sum up this anecdote, that I see almost with every new joiners struggling to explain choices. It's when they learn that and the people feel proud about this, I think I would say, okay, what's next? And I make sure they have another challenge just behind to learn. And every day there is a challenge, every week there is a challenge. And so like that, I hope they will want to stay here and with us and continue to learn.
And about attracting new talent, there's something that you're doing right now is to speak at those kind of events, or writing articles, or making opening a window to the outside world on your team. Is this something that you are prioritizing the team? Is this part of the 40% of build you were talking about?
Exactly. Yes. Starting January, the goal is to at Doctolib to post 2 articles per month about the design team. So it's in their quarterly meeting. So the goal is really to do so, and it works honestly, because often there are candidates during interviews say, "Oh, I just read the article about user research, about product design," and especially in France, I think that there is a lack of literature, on the web about that, like very, very precise literature, like examples, concrete examples of the everyday job, etc. And it's exactly what we are trying to do at Doctolib. and honestly, it works. There is a second element is the design system, and we decided to make it public. And it was quite a long discussion inside the club because they were not convinced about this is quite privacy. No, it's really about employer branding for designers, but for developers too. But developers, they love to see, okay, it's pretty solid. Okay, let's go. But for designers too, and say, okay, they are quite in advance. I want to fight in order to create a project. So every time I can put something live or public, I do it just to share the way we work, to be transparent, and so people, externally say, okay, they work like that exactly. So you can give content so that they can give back and say, okay, I want to work with you. Yeah, but content strategy, this is something is very important, and there are space. Honestly, today you have a lot of space to create content and concrete content.
I think, yeah, indeed, it's necessary. Any way possible. First, to hire people and to really get candidates, I think that the first is the network. So this type of event is exactly the type of event I invite everyone in my team to participate or to be speakers there. And so designers are doing podcast articles, going to events, speaking to people, working on side projects as well, their personal project with others. One of the lead in my team is doing courses here, so he knows some of you maybe. And yeah, so network first, and then of course content, sharing what we do, and we pretty like Dribble to show like what we are actually doing. So anytime we do something, we have a plan to post every 2 weeks on Dribble, and that's for everyone in the design studio mandatory to post something about their work. So we actually, everyone can feel proud about their work and give visibility on what are we doing at Conto, and have more visibility. It works pretty well. I think we are in the top 10 in France on Dribble, and every time I see a candidate, they tell me about. We are asking them from where do you know us and what have you seen from Conto? Say we've seen the Dribble, the articles, and so on. So it's definitely mandatory, and most of the people that we hire are coming from the network of the team. And the whole company actually, not just the design, not just the designers, but the product team, tech team, marketing. We are almost 500, so it's a huge network to capitalize on.
All right. Can you told us that you spend 1/4 of your time hiring, on interviews, on things like that? What about the 75% remaining? What does your week look like?
Yeah, it changed a lot. 4 years ago, it was exactly the same. 4 years ago, I was like doing a sketch at the time, it was not Figma, with a product designer. But yeah, right now, so 25% about hiring, I guess, something like that. 25% about rituals. So the 40% of the week, it's we have like a Monday morning, the start week. Tuesday morning, we have like the design system hour, like the peer review session. It's all the morning. In fact, we colonize all the morning and say, okay, morning is for us. Okay. And then Wednesday morning, it's like all ends every 3 weeks, and the other weeks is like focus. So there's like time you don't. If you want to remove a meeting, you can. So it's about focus. Wednesday morning, I walk around on my. Thursday morning is about one-one, and Friday morning is about other session of peer review and spending time together. Product design, UX writer, user researcher. So there are always something to share, always something to say, always something to. So 25% hiring, I think that 25% in these rituals, spending time with the team, just like in the gears, I would say, of the team, like the one-one, the rituals, things like that. I think there is like 20% more. I have specific hours with my management, exactly like yours. I have like 6 I have two head of product design, one head of user research, head of UX writing, head of brand design, and lead design ops. So for the 6, every week or every 2 weeks, I spend 1 hour to deep dive on something very operational, just to be close to something concrete, because otherwise, I would say very, very way. And if like a CPO, it's like, hey, I saw that it's crappy. If you don't know about that, you are like, that you are too far from the field. So it's important to have that precious time with them. I think that they like that too, spending time with the manager to share deeply and to have like a brainstorm about an interface or so maybe I don't have exactly the context, but it's not like quite strange. Why that's component, etc. And I think that's at the end I have like 20-25% about all we said about the Slack crap thing. They say, oh, I have a problem. Oh, blah blah blah. So you are always like trying to, and maybe at the end I have like 5% doing writing and thinking about strategy. But honestly, it's a lot of hiring rituals, spending time with the team. Even I have maybe 10% about be present on the critical meetings. These meetings, I have to be here because that there is big decision right now, and I don't want the team to be alone. And you are the shield, so you have to hold the flag and say, I have to be here, and just just being on the screen, and people say, okay, my guy is here, okay, so it's important, okay, you know what I mean, and say, okay, so the topic is different, and just to say, I just wanted to say this topic is important. Listen to the product designer, it's okay. So after 1 hour, we're okay. I think maybe you just leave the kind of meeting. And about strategy and that kind of, I don't have a lot of time. I should maybe spend more time with that.
And Monsieur, what does your week look like?
Maybe the repartition is a bit different, but the topics are exactly the same. And I think the main one, of course, hiring, always in content for candidates, so half of that.
And besides your team and your manager, who are the persons in the company that you interact the most with? Like, is there meetings, touch points with PMs or marketing or whatever roles?
That's on my side, it's talent acquisition managers.
What they say, I am the extension of the talent team.
I spend all my time with them.
And product ops. I spend a lot of time with product ops.
What do we do?
So it's like design ops, but for product. Okay. Managing rituals, methods, and so each time we want to twist a little bit the timeline, because we have like an official timeline with a different step, how we work with product manager, and but there is the theory and there is the reality always, and so each time say, and that project was not, it was so spending time with them in order to adjust a little bit the timeline, or there are always kind of strategic project with them in order to have like a better collaboration with product managers. I would say, talent acquisition, product ops, and my boss, the CPO. But it's not the most. No, it's not. But it's important.
And Mathieu, do you have product ops as well, or do you get in touch with product manager to make sure that designers have the best collaboration possible with their peers?
That would be maybe more the responsibility of the designer to be directly working with the product managers and with the team directly. But of course, the other half of my time is with the team on the field, as you said. I think that's the critical part for a manager is to understand what are we doing, where the team is struggling. Otherwise, we don't create any value if we are far away from the value that the team is creating. So the other half with the team directly. So not especially product manager. If you want, it can be even marketing team, product marketing, product managers, designers, anyone in the company. I try to be where there are problems, so I can help the team to learn from it. And so yeah, on the field where there are problems, and when there are no problems, I trust the team.
There's always problems.
On a different topic, and before we switch to your questions, if you're interested, if you're into startups, you may have noticed that French startups have raised more than $2 billion in September. That means that a lot of teams like you will try to hire people. That means also that the need for design leadership will grow as well, and will need to hire or to train new design managers. What would you advise? What would be your advice for a new or aspiring design manager?
Okay. I think that's the real thing is to be patient. For me, it's really what I saw during 4 years, and not to be in a hurry. For example, design system, it was like a 2 years project before we had like a go and say, okay, let's go for design system. But 2 years before we were already talking about that, we need a design system. So I think that's not to be your own frustration and say, I'm not a good manager, or I'm not, getting into that's like responsibility because this project is not moving on. But if it's not moving on right now, it will be in 6 months, in 1 year. Don't care. So be patient and be resilient about that. I think this is something that I learned during these 4 years. There are many other things to say about alignment, trying to find the best alignment possible in your group, and spend time to do so, and spend energy to do so. If you align everyone, all the forces will go in the right direction. And I think this is like the most precious thing you can create in a company. If you have people that don't think the same as you, it will be very, very difficult to move on. You know what I mean? Because they say, no, I want that direction. They say, no, this is that direction. So I think that, and especially design, it's in our DNA to do so, to find, okay, the best way to go in one direction. So patience, alignment, I would say.
It's kind of the same is practice, doing the same thing again and again and again, doing a lot of mistakes again and again, and then every time learn from the mistakes. And after a few years, after a few years, you know how to avoid typical traps, and so you know how to get quicker to a result than others, and that make you maybe helpful for a team. That's one of the aspects. The other one would be to look at not only design but beyond design, and I mean business. The business side of it, the business aspect of what you're creating, and the product aspect, every aspect, the UX writing part. I always tell to designers, why didn't you didn't write the copy in your design, or the copy is not good? Yeah, but I'm not a UX writer. If you want to grow, you need to be able to produce a strong copy, or even if you want to have a good discussion with a UX writer, you need to understand this other dimension. And I think practice, no typical traps, and have a broad experience and break silos between the expertise.
What are those typical traps? Like, can you share the most insightful mistakes that you made as a manager?
Thousand of first as a designer, and honestly, sometimes I get in the trap still. The main one always is like jumping into the solution first, or being framed in a problem. Like, okay, we have this problem. It's we need it really for next week. It's critical, and then you go straight there, and it's not the right thing. Even with the methodology, you have already a bias already from the start, and it's tricky to identify it. And I think that's one of the main trap for a designer is, even with the research and all the discovery part, having strong bias just from the very beginning. That is the most common I see.
At Doctolib, we have a mantra. It's that you have the right to fail, but don't make it a job. So we don't like to fail. So once we fail, we learn. This is natural. So I think that step by step, after you say we did like last year, it was not good, so try. So I think that honestly, we recognize the trap quite quickly once we are in it. But I agree with you about the solution. Sometimes, for the more junior profile, they go directly in the solution. Say, I'm sure this is it. I'm right. So, or they're in love with the solution. This is the worst situation. When you're in love in your solution, this is something that is, you have to kill, that solution, because maybe it's the right one. So you have to explain to them that you have to redo the process.
All right. Thanks to both of you. Now we can switch to your question if you have any, or maybe on the chat if you want to ask some questions. It's possible as well. I've got the chat right here, and I can read what you want to ask. Any question that you wanted to ask to Mathieu and Michael, maybe? Yes?
Just talk about how to behave and what type of skills you are looking for your team. But what is the most difficult aspect of this behave or skill to find in the person you are trying to hire? Because there's a lot of people who are doing UX design now. It's like a trending job, but they are not always really not good at it, but just focus on what is design. So how can you find this to make a difference?
I'm going to repeat the question because they might not have hear you on the chat.
Okay.
So
How can I? Because
I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna repeat it.
okay.
Yeah. So this trait that you are looking for designers, besides
It's hard to find as well.
Yeah, the hardest to find between the skills that you can have and the behavior that you can have as well.
It's between hard skills and soft skills.
Yeah, very much.
I think this is the both. Yeah. In fact, I'm very, very, very sensitive about soft skills, and especially for junior profile. If you get higher in seniority, I think the hard skills is important, equally to the soft skills, because you have to be legitimate regarding the team. And for junior profile, it's important to see that the senior profile can have a good usage of Figma, for example, Variant, Autolayout, that kind of thing, and say just, okay, yeah, you can do that. But for more junior profile, I think that soft skills is number one. You can learn hard skills, you can learn, and especially in a team where they are already senior profile, you can learn very quickly. And honestly, at Doctolib, everything is in place that after 1 month or 1 month and a half, you're ready. Coming from nowhere, you're ready. You understand, okay, what you're looking for, what's the component, how it works, everything. Soft skills, you don't learn soft skills, okay? So I spend a lot of time. The first interview at the club is really about soft skills. We don't talk about design or just like at the end. So you did things, okay, show me. And after there's the case, and the case is really about hard skills. But the first is really about, do I want to work with that person? This is the only question I ask myself. If the answer is no, okay, no case, sorry, because this is the first obstacle. So this is very, very important. Just be natural, just be open, just be curious, just be empathic, just like that. I don't like diva. I don't like people that are artists. This is not about artists. Being a designer is different. We always ask questions that are kind of uncomfortable and say, I don't agree with you, just to see how the people react in front and say, no, I love my solution. It's I would prefer and say, oh, okay, it's interesting. Let's debate. If the people is the rank process, the candidate is like open-minded and begin like a debate, a constructive debate during the interview. it's a win for me, because you see that the mindset is great to talk with other designers, to talk with product managers.
I totally agree with that. Say maybe the one on soft skills, what I look for, and I think it's same for everyone at Contour. I think it's the ambition in the person, like what do you want to grow, to learn, or to evolve, and how much did you put in place currently, where in what you do to get better, and do you know what you need to get better? And that's one of the questions I ask: what do you want to learn? And so I expect people to be clear and to have a huge list of things to learn, be really curious about things. And when I ask, okay, what did you do to get better at this? And then have an answer, have something, okay. And there I can see that I have someone at least who has a motivation to grow or to move forward. That's the main point, because we are betting on people when we hire, and so I prefer to bet on people that really want to go and we deliver a lot of energy in that. And of course, curiosity of how things are made, how things work, curiosity to know more than what they know currently. That's for the soft skills.
To go back to go on a question that George asked on the chat, to rebound on that, he asked, you just said that okay, what have you done to improve on that field, and what was the best answer you got from this question? Like, what have a designer done that you were surprisingly happy to see that they had an initiative to learn more?
Oh, I like this question. I think the best answer I got is no matter the solution, what they put in place, it's not that which is interesting. It's someone tell me something, like they told me the 4 things they did and where they failed. So it means like they failed, they put in place things, they practice things, they went to do things, 4 different tasks and try they did to get better at something. And every time I ask, okay, what did you learn there? Oh, I learned that. And there, what did you learn? And another thing, and another thing. And there I say, oh, you're actually pretty good at that now.
You have an answer.
And an anecdote about like during an interview, something that impressed me, and say, okay, this is. I'm always impressed by people that are doing like side projects. You have your everyday life. You're already a designer or something, and say, oh yeah, I built a little website for helping people. Okay, wow. I went on Netflix yesterday. Man, let's see if your project is that you are very passionate, about something, and you want to spend time to do. So this is something that always impressed, and especially if you go abroad. And I had an example of someone who went to like Asia, and like during a world trip or something. So and say, yeah, I helped an association in Cambodia to build a website. Okay, this is exactly the kind of mindset I want to have in my team, because this is very open. This is entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Creative, because I guess that in that kind of country, technology is not exactly the same, so you have to find solutions. So I love that kind of story. This is quite unique, but yeah, inspiring.
Thanks. There's another question I wanted to ask, but we run out of time during my time to ask questions, so I'm very happy that Mathieu asked it in the chat. Do you have objectives for designers? How do you measure the success? What are the success metrics of your team?
This is a complicated question, because we are right in the middle of it at Dr. Liv, how to put in place KPIs in order to measure the impact of design of what we do every day. And honestly, this is something that I'm exactly like I said before, design is a long-term run, so it's difficult to measure quarterly what you are doing. Say, after 1 quarter, you reach your percentage of conversion, and so we are based essentially of the NPS, so the Net Promoter Score from the user. So it's globally, you know, because it's about like design, but product management, dev, and etc. So if the NPS is very low because of the number of, I don't know, of the stability of the platform, this is not about design, but well, this is a way to measure what we were doing. And we are working now on other metrics from Google, like SUS or that kind of, I don't know if you know about that, KPIs, more about like ergonomics, that kind of thing. But we are not relevant, honestly, on that. So we are quite the same as product managers. But I think that we have to be more accurate in order to be more precise, because honestly, user researcher in my team say, as a user researcher, what the impact of what we are doing at the end, you know? So this is, there is a different step between the insights and at the end the solution. So what is the transformation? So it's a complicated question. I don't know, maybe you have an answer, but I don't have.
Well, I don't know if it's the best, but it's actually what I'm looking at every day for the team. So for the design, really the design team first, I look at the quality of what we are doing every day. And what I mean quality is we aim to do when we deliver something, it is good and it's right first time. So when we ship it to the dev, there's no coming back. There's no, actually I forgot something, or you miss a file, or it's not clear, and mistake that we notice later on. So when we ship, and that's for product design, but for UX writing as well, for brand design as well. Anytime we ship something, we align with everyone in the team, we gather all the knowledge possible, so we make sure that anything that we deliver is right. When we will put it in the next team after us for development, for the marketing to put live, it will work. So that's the quality, and we are looking at the reward. Anytime something is going back, we count that, and it happens every day. And anytime it happens, we learn something, and then we get better. So quality, and then speed. Are we delivering on time what we have to deliver? That's key. And do we learn from our mistakes? So that's really for the team, and we believe that if we deliver fast with great quality and we learn along the way, we have a good recipe to have a working, growing startup. And at the level of the outcome of what we are building is, of course, the NPS, customer satisfaction, and revenue.
Thanks. Do you have another question in the room? Yes?
After the COVID crisis and the remote job, how do you give sense to people to work with you?
How do you give sense?
Yes, to people to work with you.
Okay, so
Yes, because the COVID was a specific period, and we noticed that people are less engaged or sometimes boring about some tasks that they enjoyed before. And now how you give them sense to come back in the loop.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat the question as well. So during that COVID crisis, did you get your team motivated? Or
sense of
work. A sense of, how do you give them a sense of work and keeping what they're doing and so on?
That's really linked to the question I answered before, like how do we keep people in the team, keep them learning things, and they are in remote or in the office, they still learn. So since they learn, like they will have a sense of, and they can be proud about what they deliver, what they learn. So that's the part. But the reality with the COVID was we were all remote, and actually even myself, I started almost in March, just before the first lockdown. So almost all the team has been built remotely, and we are just starting to get back to the office. So, and the difficulty, I think it was the same for everyone, not just our field, is being locked down at home and feeling a bit lonely. And I think that everyone has been touched by that. And that has been a challenge for every industry.
Yeah, at Doctor with the difference, as you may guess, it was like a pretty intense period, COVID. So we were already in a company full of sales, and so suddenly it was like even more. And so when we were all under lockdown and we worked remotely, honestly, like the 40% of builds, the long time we spent all together, I think this is something is important because you know that you are linked to the other designers. You are not like spread in the company, working with product manager, always fighting to. So I think it's like an oasis. You know what I mean? Oasis where you spend time with designers and just share about what you are doing, not thinking about the run. I think it's important. And now, so coming back to the office, at Doctolib we have the possibility to be office first. So we came like globally in the office every day. Remote first, so it's like 1 or 2 days per month in the building, or hybrid. It's like 2-3 days at home and at the office. And on Wednesday, this is the design day, Wednesday. So all the designers can come on Wednesday, and we are doing a lunch. So it's a good way that we know that all Wednesday we have a lunch somewhere near the office, and we are together like 20 people, 25 people here. And this is kind of rituals that are important because you see real people. I think this is exactly what you miss when you are remote, like my interaction, the coffee, the little joke, the little gossip, and I think this is, and not everyone in the team is sensitive to that. There are people who say, okay, I'm far away, I don't care about that. And the other side, there are people who say, oh, I want my gossip, I want to talk about people, about your hair, about I don't know, whatever. This is something I need, to be good in the job. So we have to respect all these. But I think that having that strong rituals and having one day where everyone is at the office, see each other, and having a lunch and stuff, I think this is something that is good for reinforce the team spirit.
So the COVID jumped you in a more, I say that, a more confident environment that you don't have before. Does the COVID period help you to improve this remote job and the cohesion between the people? Does that help you?
I don't know if the COVID helped to reinforce the connection with. I don't know, but we were all at Doctolib is quite special because we served a special mission, So I think it's a little bit different. Maybe control, but I think that's due to that strong rituals, the 40%. I think that we kept the team as one because they were seeing each other very often. And we continue that now, even with the hybrid or the remote.
Regarding remote, Fabiano in the chat asked about was it more challenging as a manager to deal with people in remote?
I think so. I think everything has to be invented to manage a team and to run a team and to be a team of 30 people. All working from home, like everything, we use a lot visual management, make the reality visible, and so everyone can understand what's going on and what's happening without a lot of explanation or a meeting dedicated to it. So we have to reinvent all the visual management digital, and that's not the same tool. Same the exchange between people, the discussion we had, the workshop we have to invent new ways that we didn't know and that was not planned to work together, and the team has been built with that, and more it got better along the way, and now we are, I think, half the team now, it's almost ended, asked to stay fully remote, and that's okay because I understand the habit and they build a relationship with the people of the team like that, and we organize events, we have team buildings, we have lunch, coffee, drinks, and so on, and so they can attend. But I'd say it has been difficult. It was not a great opportunity, if that was the question, but we adapted.
Yeah, it was pretty challenging as a manager.
It's how you grow. You grow in this way to manage remotely.
Yeah, but I think that we had the same problem, but just human communication. When you spend like all your day speaking to a computer and you see just half the part of the body, there is a lot of gesture you don't see. There's small signals you can't, understand from the people. And sometimes during like a quarter point, say, okay, Mika, I'm going to leave. What? I didn't see coming. And because, we were not in the same room during like 1 quarter, I think that it was the case maybe I saw in little things, you're not pretty, you're not comfortable. What's the problem? You want to say something, you know what I mean? All these human things, they disappear. And moreover, during maybe 8 hours a day, there is no break. Like meeting, work, meeting, you know what I mean? It's like robots. I think we gain productivity, but we didn't gain like humanity, of course. So I think that they are quite happy to go back to the office, and sometimes say to me, the Wednesday, the productivity going low because we had a lot of coffee. Okay, that's okay for me because the needs that part of humanity we don't have. It was very hard for me as a remote manager. So just for that part, and I few people that they quit during that period because it was too difficult, and they needed like just honest discussion. This is difficult to have through screen. You know what I mean? So it's something that just have to run a coffee or just one-on-one on the meeting room.
Last question. Yeah.
We're talking a lot about design leadership, but how do you measure yourself, your impact, besides making your team work? Because it's very subjective. You said that you have to take out fires and stuff like that, but how do you actually know that you are helping the team?
So it's about their own success metrics.
Their own success metrics.
So what are your own success metrics? How do you know that you're doing a good job besides making the team move? What do you do?
I'm looking at the same KPIs I shared before. I look at the quality. If the quality is not right, I'm not doing well my job. If we don't learn, if there are no learnings from those mistakes and those rework, like I'm not doing well my job. If I'm not hiring, same. NPS, if the NPS is low, as a design team, like we have probably an impact on that. It means like the things that we are building, they're not strong enough. So I'd say exactly the same KPIs are, and this is why I look at them every day to spot like all the things that are going wrong, so I can help the team to tackle it and to get better at it. So I'm looking as for the team, I'm looking at those KPIs all the time.
And maybe I have a different approach, but I think that, and especially in the first years when I was like very small team, it's exactly what I said before about the fact that each time I was living something painful, I noticed that, okay, this is painful. And after 1 month or 1 quarter, I do, okay, this is painful, this is painful, this is painful, this is my roadmap. And each time I succeed to tackle like a painful moment, for example, user research, UX writing, it was like a big victory for me, but I was very focused on that. It's a good way for me to move on step by step and not to be drawn, on like big strategy, things I can't make it. Yeah. So it's more about design factory, I would say, but it's very concrete to understand that ritual with that kind of people from, marketing, products that was very painful, and now it's like smooth. And the value is okay, great victory. So this is not something that is very visible from the other, but for you, this is obviously something very visible.
We have other tools as well. So I focus really on the performance part, but for the team spirit, and that's important. We just discussed about the COVID situation. We have indicators, what we call engagement survey, where you want to share how they feel. Very precise question about how they feel actually every day in the company. And when we see the result of that, something not going well, so it's an indicator as well to say, okay, I'm not, as a head of design, there is something I'm not doing good enough, so the result of the team is not good.
We have the same tools to follow the feedback from the team. So it's a good indicator to see if the team is in a good shape or not. Thanks
to both of you for your time and your sharing your experience with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for people on YouTube for staying with us that late, and thanks to you too as well for coming at the office to share this moment with us. We've got a drink. Can take a moment to share a drink together, and yeah, that's it. Thanks. Merci. Okay. Merci. Comment? Non, non, t'inquiète. Ah ouais.